Hey there. Welcome to day 2 of our journeying together through Hey You. Uh, this day, let me find the title. It says, Choose Him above what you can hold. And this is what the note says. It says, Hey you, I don't know how things are going to look for you coming up in the next few months, but this time will dictate things for you, and they can either for good or for bad. You have to decide that if you perish, you perish. I know it hurts sometimes not understanding, and you wish you had done things differently, but it really is okay. You have to be okay with not knowing how things end. You have to be okay with no stability concerning what you can hold, but according only to Him. Who you are and who you get to be varies according to the day sometimes and the person you are with. Don't find stability in what you do, but rather in who you are. You have not been shortchanged. He loves you more than you love yourself. You have to commit to being faithful, to seeing things differently, to not being afraid. He knows the ending of the story, so it is okay that you don't. It's actually better that way. That way, you won't get caught manipulating circumstances to your advantage. Do life with Him every moment. Let life be a surprise. You don't have to know it all. Just follow. It's going to be okay. Even if it doesn't look like what you thought or what you had hoped, it is okay. Guard yourself, guard your heart, and trust Him. I promise it will be okay. Keep pushing, keep pressing. It will be okay. I think probably the sentence I needed to hear when I wrote this was, it's going to be okay, or it will be okay. That showed up a few times there. But this one I know is heavy on the understanding of outcomes and the fact that you can't manipulate. Well, you can manipulate, but we can't ultimately manipulate or dictate how things are going to turn out, um, for what is ahead, for what our future looks like. And in that, it's choosing to find our stability in who God is instead of finding our stability in what happens, or any specific outcome. And talked about the Israelites and how they they knew God because of what He did. Psalm 103:7, I believe it is. It says, He, as a God, revealed His character to Moses and His deeds to the people of Israel. And it's just saying that, like, the Israelites knew God by what He did for them. We know about these miraculous aspects of, like, the Red Sea, or um, all of the plagues that happened before they even left Egypt, and the manna and the quail, and just the various ways that God showed up on behalf of the Israelites. And even in, while they were in the wilderness, like, He was, when He visited, when it was time for Him to come into the camp, He would tell Moses, tell the people to prepare themselves, like to consecrate themselves. But whenever they heard His voice, whenever they saw um, the lightning and the thunder and the visual effects of His presence, they were afraid and told Moses, "You go talk to him. We don't want to." And so, like, the Israelites knew God by His works and His deeds, but it says that Moses knew Him by His character, or by His ways. And ways means mannerisms, direction, or path. So it wasn't just knowing God by what He did, but it was knowing God by, like, by the mind, by His mind, by what He was thinking when He did something. And Dr. Miles Monroe, he talks about how one of the cons of having, like, the Declaration of Independence or the Constitution is that we don't have the mind of the author. We have what they wrote, and that was it. But when we're looking at the Bible, when we're reading the Bible, we can always ask, like, I see what you did, I see what happened, but what was your mind behind this? Why did you do something like this? What was your heart? What was your thought behind it? And so even though the Israelites had the chance to know God just by what he did, like that's the same thing for us. We have the opportunity to know him by outcomes, by what he can accomplish on our behalf. But in this note, I remember thinking that like things were so unpredictable about what was going to happen or what my future would look like. And I had to make the decision that my stability was going to be in who he was and in his ways and in his mannerisms. And I wanted to know him in that way more than any outcome. Because if I got the outcome, if I got the things that I wanted, but I missed him in the process, like what was going to be the point, you know? And the stability of maybe this will happen and maybe it won't, or maybe this person will do this or maybe they won't. Having a stability that rests on what happens is no stability at all, because there are just too many options of what could happen and not enough control on our end to dictate or determine what happens. But if we rested ourselves just in who he was, in who the Lord was, in his faithfulness, in our understanding of him, in our ability to get to know him, like it doesn't matter what our hands end up holding. It doesn't matter what our lives end up looking like or what our future, how much millions or billions of dollars are in the bank, even though I hope that's coming. Marriage for me personally is something that I'm looking forward to. But whatever it looks like for you, if your stability can't be or couldn't be in what you can hold, which it isn't, it can't be, it can't determine the future. We can take steps and do things to exercise whatever autonomy or control we think we have on the future. But we have to be able to rest in who he is. And not only should we pursue that rest, but we should make that our intention and make that our posture with him, that no matter what you give me, no matter what happens in the future, no matter what outcome is experienced in my life, like I choose you above what I can hold. I choose your presence and the ability to get to know you as my stability more than I choose what my outcome will be. And so I put in here, and I'm going to say it again now because it's true. Today, for me, that's enough. But I may need to revisit this note tomorrow. And I'll read this part as well. It says, how about you? Are there things that you are requiring of him that allow you to hold your faithfulness to him ransom? I'm not saying don't hold on to what he's promised or contend for what he's told you. I am saying that there's a my God is able, but even if he doesn't role, we have an unconditional relationship that allows us to live by hope and expectation, not requirement or demand. So again, put him in remembrance of every last thing that he has told you, everything last thing that he has promised you. But don't hold your relationship with him hostage based on what he does or doesn't do for you in the timing that you would like him to. So again, it's our intention, setting our desire, setting our intention, setting our goal to know him and to choose him above whatever outcome happens with our lives. So that is the end of day 2. See you back here tomorrow for day 3.